What's up, everybody? I'm coming at you today with a video on something that's called a distended belly or distended abdomen. So you may not know what that means, but I'm sure you might be familiar with it, either because you've seen somebody else with one or you yourself have one. And I want to make this clear, it's not about really fat, okay? So a distended belly is when the belly pushes out, okay? So it's not about the fat there, because yes, there are people who have fat on their lower bellies and their bellies push out, right? But I'm talking about the abdominal wall just pressing out. You may have seen people that have very low body fat, even people that you see their abs and their belly is just pushed out, okay? So if you look at me from the side, I'm actually drawing in a little bit, meaning I'm sucking in my belly right now. So I'm going to do my best to relax my belly. Okay, so now I have my belly, my lower abdominals are relaxed right now. Do you see how far that pushes out? Okay, in relation to my chest. So this is something that I have a lot of experience with. Okay, I've been training for many years and I've had this distended belly for a long time, and personally I don't think it looks very good. I think it's aesthetically, like, you might be putting in a lot of work in the gym, you're losing body fat, maybe you see your abs, but yet your belly still pushes out. Okay, so if you're like me and you don't like that, I'm going to go over some of the things that I've done over the years and give you my experience on how effective I think it is. I think everybody, when they first notice this within themselves, you immediately go to exercise. So I'm going to cover some exercises and what I think. Okay, so you have the upper abs, right? But if you notice, it's the lower abs that are relaxed and pressing out. Okay, so naturally you might get on YouTube or try to figure out how to work your lower abs. So I'll give you some ways that you can do that. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that people make when working their lower abs is they're using a lot of hip flexors. So in general, if you're laying down on your back, let's say like this, and I pick my legs up, I'm working a lot of my hip flexors to get through the motion. So in order to kind of get those out of the picture, I really want to focus on keeping my spine neutral versus when my legs come down. If I start to overarch my back, I'm basically just kind of working at my hip flexors, and then depending, some people I see when they do this, their back is just rounded the whole time. So their abs aren't really even engaging in the right way. Now, having said that, doing tons of lower ab exercises, all that, I really don't think that they contribute very well to pulling in the belly. Maybe just a little bit if you have really weak abs. But I think in general, you could work your abs out all day and you'll still have your belly pushing out, okay? So I don't really recommend a lot of lower ab exercises to try to remedy that. What I think is more effective is working the obliques. Because when you work the obliques, it basically connects, there's a sheet that runs across your abs, and when you engage those, it's like it pulls everything in just a little bit, like a corset. So an example of working your obliques would be something like a side plank. Okay, right now gravity's pulling me down, so I got to work the obliques here to stay up. So it would be isometric moves, which means holding, like you just witnessed. It could be rotational movements. So I would prefer somebody to do oblique moves to try to draw in their belly a little bit. Having said that, I think it's not very effective in my opinion. It is a little bit, but what I do think is a better exercise, and this is going to be kind of weird, is doing stomach vacuums. That's when you just suck in your belly. Now there's two ways to do this. One way is, imagine if I'm trying to get into a pair of pants and I just suck my belly in. Pretty much everyone knows how to do that. So if you look at me from the side, my belly button, if I try to draw in my belly button, pulling it in like I'm trying to get into those pants, that's drawing in. And that can help a little bit, but what I find more effective is a stomach vacuum. And this is kind of weird. I'm not going to get into details. If you want to hear more about this, let me know, but I'm going to pull out a chair because I first learned how to do it sitting. For whatever reason, I was trying over and over again to do a real stomach vacuum, and I just couldn't do it. And then one day I was sitting down, and it just worked. So I'm going to briefly go over how to do it, but this is what you do. So you're going to, yo! What's up? Okay, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to exhale. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to inhale, but I'm not going to actually breathe in air. And that's going to cause a negative pressure inside my abdomen, and that's going to pull everything in. Okay, notice I wasn't talking. If you can talk when you do a stomach vacuum, that means you're not doing it the right way. That's not what I'm talking about. I can pull in my belly and talk, but you can't really do a real stomach vacuum. So this is something that you can practice. It trains everything to pull in. And that's essentially what you want, is you want everything to pull in versus push out. So if I had to rank exercises from worst to best, I would say the worst, well, first off, just regular ab work could even make the problem worse because you may be just pressing your abs out and you don't even know it. I haven't even gone over any of those. But then the next is lower abdominal work. Then you have the obliques, and then you have the stomach vacuum. So to me, if you had to choose any exercise to try to remedy a distended belly, I would say shoot for the stomach vacuum. Okay, now you got tons of supplements, okay? And by the way, you're gonna hear all different kind of stuff here and there. This is what causes it, this is what you need to do, blah, blah, blah. I'm just telling you guys what I've done over the years and what I've noticed within myself. That's all I'm doing here, okay? One thing that you can try is you can try taking glutamine. Glutamine is an amino acid, you can buy it, it's real cheap. You take glutamine on an empty stomach in the morning. The reason why you wanna take it on an empty stomach in the morning is because apparently that helps repair your abdominal wall. So I think many of us have abdominal damage that we don't even know about because, let's be honest, we're not eating perfectly. We haven't consumed food perfectly in the past. Drinking alcohol, fried foods, those kind of things over time mess up your belly. It can cause little tiny tears inside your gut, and the glutamine apparently will help repair them, okay? So I've experimented with high quantities of glutamine on an empty stomach. I'm not recommending this, I'm just telling you what I did. I didn't really notice anything crazy. It's hard to know if that was actually working because I was doing that in conjunction with the other things. I'll just kind of give my opinion on it. Glutamine I think is all right. I wouldn't recommend high doses. I'm not a fan of taking high quantities of really any supplement. The next thing that you potentially could do with your belly is take probiotics. So there's bacteria that's bad, and then you have bacteria that's good. That's a very simplistic way of thinking about it. But inside your belly, you have billions and trillions of living organisms, and that contributes to your overall health. It helps your immune system function correctly. Anyway, now, because of antibiotics and a lot of other things that we do to our body, we mess up that natural balance inside us, so you can consider taking probiotics. Now, for myself personally, I've taken many different kinds of probiotics over the years, different strains. I've taken very high quantities of probiotics in massive doses. Like the ones that I was using, you can't even buy at the store. I had to get them special, and it was for people who have like colitis and irritable bowel syndrome and all that. Having said that, I did feel like that did something. I'm not a big fan of doing that, I do think that if you have some distress, I think that if you have some damage there in your belly, doing that in the short term potentially could help. Like I said, I was taking probiotics. Is that your phone? Okay, yes. We'll keep on going. Keep on going, baby, yeah! My dad is here taking the video with the biggest distended belly of all time!
Here, let me just turn this off.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so anyway, It's all right, don't worry about it. What was I talking about?
Yeah, about high doses of.
Okay, so you have, like I said, I don't know exactly what was improving the distended belly that I have. I noticed a little bit of an improvement when I was taking the high doses of the probiotics, the glutamine, in addition to prebiotics. So prebiotics is like, vegetables, that kind of thing. You can also buy it in the form of a powder. You can also buy like apple cider vinegar with the mother. Those kind of things, I noticed it helped just a little bit, okay? Again, probiotics, glutamine, I do think that those things can potentially help with a distended belly. I'm not a big fan of taking supplements perpetually, meaning forever. Maybe just a short duration of time to potentially help get your gut in order. I've also done something called Colonics, which is very controversial, and I'm definitely not recommending this. I'm just letting you know the things that I've done because you yourself might be very displeased with your belly and you're looking for anything to remedy it. I've done Colonics. That's basically where they stick something up your butt and they kind of flush everything out. And I was doing that a lot. I was doing that on the weekly. Okay, I would go to a facility and they would do the Colonics. And I've also done enemas, coffee enemas. I was doing a coffee enema every single day. It wasn't necessarily for the distended belly. There's some other things that I thought maybe I can help remedy through natural ways. I'm just trying to say that I have done those things and I didn't really see a correlation to helping with the belly. Okay, so if you want to do colonics or an enema in the hopes that your belly will go down, I don't think it'll really work. Now, having said all that, I'm going to tell you what I think is the best thing that you could do for a distended belly. You might have heard me talk about it in other videos. It might be very simple. It's as easy and simple as fasting. Okay? I think that our bodies, most of us, are just backed up. We're just eating too much food. We have this idea that you got to eat a certain amount of food. Like everyone I talk to, even my clients, when I mention fasting, almost all of them are like, oh, I can't do that. I can't not eat. I mean, I'm going to be so irritable. I'm going to be, like they're just freaking out. And now a lot of them do it on the weekly. And this isn't even anything that I've recommended to them. They're just doing it on their own because they've seen the benefits of it. I'm a huge fan of fasting. What does fasting mean? It means you just don't eat. And of course, you may need to build up. I recommend trying to shoot for at least a day. Maybe, stretch it out to 2 days, maybe stretch it out to 3 days. I think 3 days is kind of a sweet spot, 1 to 3 days. As far as how often you do that, I'm of the belief that I think if you kind of do a fast maybe once a week, I think that would be good. And if you haven't done a fast at all your whole life, then dude, you need to get on that. Just do a fast at least once a year. To me, that's like, oh man, your stomach, dude, your stomach needs a break. I was taking glutamine in the effort and the hopes of repairing my gut, not realizing that I just kept eating. So I'm never really giving my belly a chance to clear everything out and start to repair. Okay, so you have fasting in that way of just not eating, but then you also have intermittent fasting. And you might have seen some of my other videos on this, and that's just where you just select a certain window of time. So let's say 4 hours, and you say, I can eat as much as I want just within that 4-hour window, okay? Another thing I'm a big fan of is OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. I noticed when I was fasting and when I was doing intermittent fasting that my distended belly was the best that it ever has been. Like I would look in the mirror and it wasn't really popping out. I was like, whoa, dude, it's so refreshing. Right now, I really haven't been doing that. So right now, I feel like my belly is distended. So I'm coming at you with, a side effect of just eating every day. And, I know. Well, one other thing I'll say too is you get a lot of people will say it's kind of what you are eating. So, hey, you shouldn't be eating wheat, you shouldn't be eating dairy, you shouldn't be eating this, don't eat fruit, don't eat that, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. In my experience, those things don't necessarily have a huge correlation to how my belly's feeling. I will say beer, that's a big one. For whatever reason, beer, I just feel like bloats me big time. Beer, carbonated liquids Well, I will say beans, you know, because that's just gassy. All right, so I've shown you my belly. I've talked to you about my gas, and that's pretty much it. Dad, do you have anything to say before I peace out? Any questions or anything that was confusing in what I just said?
Yes, you didn't see expansion belly. Do you want me to show you my belly? No, just kidding.
I mean,
No.
it's true. Yours is
Mine
not,
is
not
like
being mean, but can I tell them about?
no,
Okay.
don't tell them about how big is my belly. All right,
All
here
right.
we go. It's finished.
Okay, that's it. God bless you all. Peace.